Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today we are going to be addressing something that I have been asked to address several times by several different people. And we will be doing an entire series going from the start of a coloring journey to where I am now. I'm not going to say the end of a coloring journey because a coloring journey really never ends. And to start a coloring journey, there's so many different availabilities out there for books, for pencils, for paper, for everything. And it's very confusing for a person that is just starting out. So I'm going to go through today the basics, the things that you need just to color. I'm not going to go through how to blend. I'm not going to go through how to build your color. I'm not going to go through any of that today. I am going to go through the different things that you need before your pencil hits paper. So first of all, the first thing you need is the desire to color. So if you want to color, you can color. Don't let anybody tell you that you are coloring wrong. There is no wrong in coloring. So that's the first thing that you need. The second thing that you need, of course, is pencils and books and things like that. So the first thing I'm going to go through with you, this I will go through later, is of course the pencils I suggest for a beginner. So if you're just starting out, I strongly suggest certain pencils because a lot of YouTubers have it. That's the other thing I'm going to tell you is a lot of times in order to see how things are done or to see how it can look, um, watch YouTube channels, not just mine, but others. There are so many out there that do absolutely gorgeous work that do step by step through their process. So watch YouTube channels. The pencils I suggest that a lot of YouTube channels are using that are inexpensive and great starter sets. I do not suggest that you buy Prismas or Caran d'Ache or Derwent or Faber-Castells straight off the gate. The reason being is if you find that you don't like coloring, if it's not relaxing for you and you don't enjoy it, I don't want you to be hundreds of dollars out of pocket for something that you don't enjoy. These are budget-friendly sets that cost $20, $30, sometimes a little bit more. The Castle Arts are going to cost more. The Artex are going to cost a little more. But they're budget-friendly sets that allow you to follow along on somebody that's coloring with them. So the first one that I'm going to suggest, of course, is the Brute Funer. The Brute Funer squares are a lovely set of pencils that you don't have to what's the word I'm looking for? You don't have to be a master at colored pencils to use. They are one that you can definitely build the color with, or you can just squish the color together, and they work beautifully that way. And it gives you a really good selection of colors from your yellows to your grays. It has a very nice balance of color. So when you're looking at a set of pencils, what I suggest that you look for is a balance of color. Make sure that there's not a ton more green or a ton more blue than any other color in there. There is always going to be sets that are blue and green heavy. It's just the way colored pencils go. I don't know why. It just is. Um, but yeah, the one thing that I definitely suggest is that you go with a budget friendly set of pencils that you see being used in other channels. So these are the Brute Funer squares, and as you can see, it's a beautiful set of pencils, lots of different colors, and a good variation of color. The other ones that I suggest is the Artex. The Artex is another set of pencils that have a good balance of color. They do have your fluorescence as well. We'll get more into fluorescence as we progress through the journey. Um, A lot of people don't like them. I actually enjoy using them in different aspects and highlights and stuff like that. But the Artex have a beautiful set of pencils. It's 126 pencils. The box it comes in is not very fun. It is actually a little bit cumbersome and annoying. So I do strongly suggest with the Artex as well as the Brute squares that you purchase a pencil case that will carry your pencils and take them out of the tin or the box. But again, another set of pencils that is very well balanced. It has plenty of yellows into our yellow oranges, into our oranges, and then our pinks into our reds. You know, it has a really good balance of color all the way through. So that's the other one that I would suggest. Another one that I do suggest that is used frequently in the community, as well as they have their own YouTube group or YouTube channel where they do go through tutorials and stuff like that, is the Castle Arts. They have a 120 set of basic colors, which I'll show you, as well as a set of golds. Now, another reason that I do suggest the Castle Arts is you don't have to worry about a case. Castle Arts comes in their own case. Now, when you get a set of Castle Art pencils in the case, they come in the case, but they also come with this, which is the swatch sheet, which is this, so that you can swatch your pencils and know where they are. I'm going to get more into swatching in just a moment. But it comes with information. It comes with the colors that your pencils are going to look like. It also comes with a tutorial book. So different ways to color, different techniques, different colors, different blends, different things like that, which is very helpful, especially to a beginner colorist. It can also be extremely confusing. So make sure that you don't spend a lot of time dwelling on these things because even if you follow this process, you're going to find that sometimes it doesn't look like that. Sometimes it looks different. Sometimes it looks like this or this. So don't push yourself past your limits. Don't feel that you have to get to this on day one because you don't. But it does go through your layering, your color buildup, your blending, that sort of thing. It also goes through a couple of different perspectives. These are all things that we will deal with throughout this journey is light sources, perspective, what areas to shadows, things like that. But it's a great tool to have in your repertoire. It also comes in this wonderful case which holds all the pencils individually separated so you don't have a lot of issues getting them in and out of the bag. The one thing I don't like about the Castle Arts bags is this last layer is a little tricky to get out, so I'm going to show you a trick to get them out. So take the corner and bend that down. Take this corner and bend that down. Same with the other corners. Pop them all out like that, and it gives you a good tray of pencils to get in and out. It doesn't damage the bag, and you can just pop them all back in when you're ready to close the bag back up. And it does help not have that frustration. There's also a spot here for all your tools, so if you're traveling, you can put your blenders, other things that we'll get to along the way, erasers, different things like that in there. Now, what I suggest from if you're just starting out, the erasers I suggest for a beginner is a pencil eraser. So either a Faber-Castell or I can't find mine. Where is it? There it is. Or a Nione. These are a pencil eraser. So you can sharpen this the same way you do a pencil. You can stick it in your bag. You can get into tight little corners with it. It is a wonderful pencil eraser. The other one I suggest is a Prismacolor triangle eraser. My desk is a mess right now, so I'm losing everything. But the triangle eraser is another eraser that will cover large areas as well as small areas. Um, and oh, there it is. And it is literally a triangle. I've used it so much that and this is a Scholar eraser. So when you look it up, look up Prismacolor Scholar Triangle Eraser. This thing is wonderful. Those are the erasers I suggest. A lot of other people use different erasers. I will get further into erasers and that sort of thing again a little bit further down the road. Today we're just concentrating on what to start with, where to start. So the 120 set is a wonderful starter set of pencils. They are very, very nice. They do layer quite nicely, so you can build that color up. These are not as squishy as, say, the Artex or the Square Funers. What I mean by squishy is when you put the color down and take the next color and put a little bit more pressure on it, you can blend those colors together just by the amount of pressure you're putting on the pencil. With the Castle Art Basics, the classics, I find that you can't do that very well. But they also have another set of oil-based, so those are a harder wax base. I am preferential to oil-based pencils, and Castle Arts came out with an oil-based set of pencils. These are also in a Castle Arts bag, so it is well contained, easily utilized, easily carried, easily moved around. And the Castle Art Golds are these ones here. And as you can see, again, a wonderful selection of colors. Again, a little bit different colors than the Castle Art Basic, but still a wonderful set of colors. You can, these are a little bit softer, a little bit smoother than the Castle Art Basics, I find. And these are a layering pencil. In order to build up that color, you layer them on top of each other. They're a little bit more translucent than the wax-based pencils, which are usually a little more opaque. And that's why these are going to be a lot brighter than these, because these need layers and there's only 2 layers on there, where these you can squish. Um, I need to go through this chart and rearrange it because that's going to drive me crazy. This is in number order, and this is in my color order. So normally what I do with a set of pencils when I get them is I go through and I rearrange them so that they're in a color order that my brain accepts. And my brain accepts going from light to dark. So I have to rearrange the other ones into a proper color order for me. So those are the pencils I would suggest. Another one that I would suggest that is um, inexpensive, very inexpensive, but not a lot of people use them in their videos, is Coloria. Also comes in a case. It's a little bit of a bigger case than the Castle Arts. It's got a harder surface, but it's easier to use, and it's a smaller set of pencils. So if you find that 120 or 126 pencils is too much for you mentally to wrap your head around, the Coloria is a wonderful set of 72 pencils that has a great selection of color, as well as a really good soft lay down. So definitely one that I would suggest um, as an alternative to a larger set. So if you only want to start off with a smaller set, this is a budget friendly set. It comes in a case. You don't have to buy a new case. And it's something that is easily built on. So I would definitely suggest the Coloria as a really good starter situation. So that is your first step, is getting your pencils, of course. So choose your pencils wisely. Choose something that has a really good review rating. Um, watch YouTube channels to figure out what pencils people are enjoying using that are budget friendly. But don't get too wrapped up in it. There are a ton of budget friendly pencils out there. We will be using budget-friendly pencils in these tutorials. So I am going to specifically use a certain set. I am going to use the Castle Arts. I do believe I will take a look at the price ranges and I will settle on a specific set of pencils for this set of tutorials. I will let you know exactly what set when we start coloring, or on the next tutorial when we start getting into more of choosing the pencils for the book and that sort of thing. So the next step after you get your pencils, and I do believe the Coloria come with their own swatch chart as well. If not, and if you purchase the Coloria, let me know and I will set you up with a swatch chart. So the next step is swatching your pencils. And what you do when you swatch your pencils, and what I should say, is what I do when I swatch my pencils, is I layer a heavy layer and a light layer. I want to know what the lightest color is going to be when I first put the pencil to the paper and what it's going to look like once I'm finished. So that's why I do a light layer and a heavy layer, because the heavy layer shows me what it's going to look like when I'm done. The light layer is showing me what it's going to look like when I'm going to grab one that's a little bit larger so that you can see a little bit better. So as you can see here, I've got a light layer and a dark layer. And my camera is funky today. It's either that or else my eyes are, but that does not look like it's in focus. So I'm just going to focus it in a little bit and zoom it in so you can see what I'm talking about. There we go. Oh, nope, that's way out of focus. Sorry. Avert your eyes, avert your eyes. There, that's better. All right. So as you can see, there's a dark layer, a light layer, a dark layer, a light layer. So this is what it's going to look like when it first lays down. This is what it's going to look like when it's all the way done. It is, in my opinion, very important to swatch your pencils because it gives you the ability to look at the colors of your pencils and see which ones you want to use. So if you are having color issues where you don't know which color goes with which color, I would definitely suggest that you swatch your pencils in color family order from lightest to darkest so you can see the gradient of those colors. So what I mean by from lightest to darkest is like this, where it goes from light to dark, from light to dark, from light to dark, and so forth, so that you can see which colors are going to be your shadows, which colors are going to be your highlights, which colors are going to be this, that, and the other thing. We will get more into that later. But when you're swatching, you can either do it one of two ways. You can put it in numeric order If you only have numbers on your pencils, which I do when the pencils only have numbers, because sometimes it's easier to put them away in numeric order than it is to look at your swatch chart and go, okay, I want number 14 before number 3. But it is sometimes a lot easier to pull a pencil in color order than it is in numeric order. So that is step 2. Step 1, or step 3, I should say. Step 1, have the desire to color. Step 2, pick your pencils. Step 3, swatch your pencils, get a good feel for how your pencils lay down on paper and what your color ranges are. Step 4 is choosing your books. Now there are, again, just like your pencils, a ton of books out there. There are some books out there that are very, very inexpensive. Um, and some that are really expensive. I'm going to zoom you back out. Some that are really expensive. There are some that are very simple and some that are very intricate. Now, I would strongly suggest, and I will be utilizing that suggestion throughout these lessons as we progress on. The start of our lessons are going to start off with something very simple like the Matchstick Mouse books, which is a very simple line art and that sort of thing. So we will be starting out with something very simple. So I suggest the Matchstick Mouse line arts as your beginner books. Another one that I would suggest for your beginner books is another one that's quite simple, but these are a lot busier, is the Gnome Sweet Gnome books. Um, Teresa Goodridge is a wonderful artist. The paper in these books are quite nice. There are some that are a little simpler, and there are some that are really busy. So as we progress through the steps and get better with the the simpler stuff, you can transfer that simpler stuff into your harder stuff. So if you are going to be following along, I am going to be using this book as we start out. As we get further into it, we will start transferring to other books. But to start, we're going to start with a floral coloring book by Morgan O'Brien, which is a Matchstick Mouse book. This is basic Amazon paper, and the reason why I'm going to use this book is because of the paper, um, to show you that you can get wonderful results on Amazon paper. Not all Amazon paper is the same. There are some lower grade Amazon papers that are not great to color on, and I will go through different things on how to work with those papers or avoid them. But that's the one that we're going to start out with these lessons is Matchstick Mouse, a floral coloring book. Like I said, that's where I would start. The next one after I was able to feel comfortable with what I've done in Matchstick Mouse is I would go on to Gnome Sweet Gnome or Country Gardens. These are again beautifully drawn, really nice line art with lots and lots and lots of detail, but not so much detail that it frustrates you. So again, wonderful artist, wonderful books, and the paper in these books are quite nice. Now, what I would not suggest to a beginner colorist is Kirby Roseanne. Kirby Roseanne is a very, very wonderful artist, gorgeous artist, but his pages are extremely, extremely busy, and to I find them frustrating, especially when I first started out. I bought my first Kirby Roseanne right off the bat because I loved the pictures in it. And then I tried to color it, and I found that it was very, very intricate, and I found that I was not ready for it. I color Kirby now, and I'm a lot better with it. There are some Kirby pages, such as this one, that are a little bit easier to deal with, but a lot of Kirby stuff is very intricate, very um, time consuming, not extremely relaxing um, when you're a starting on your journey. If you have colored a lot before or have taken art classes and that sort of thing, um, I will let you know that this tutorial may not be for you. This is I have no art experience. I have no art training. I do not know color theory. I just know how I get through a coloring page, and that's all this is how I get through from start to finish, from the beginning of my journey to now. So if you've taken art classes and that sort of thing, a Kirby Roseanne may be simple to you. To me, it was horrifying. So, just throwing that out there because I know that some people have taken art classes and are really good with the details and enjoy the details. If you are a heavily detailed person and want those heavy details, I would definitely suggest a Kirby Roseanne. I really do enjoy the Worlds Within Worlds book. Absolutely fantastic artist. Another one is Nicholas Filbert. I am not saying his last name because I am not good with it. These books are quite expensive, so I do not suggest them for somebody starting out. They do have a lot of skin tones in them, a lot of detail. So if you are not ready for skin tones, not ready for detail, and aren't sure about your coloring journey yet, I do not suggest this artist. Like I said, the books are quite expensive for a coloring book and for a beginner in a coloring book. As you progress and start pushing yourself out of your boundaries and outside of the limits a little more, the Nicholas Filbert books are absolutely gorgeous. His artwork is fantastic. But like I said, as a beginner, I would not suggest the Fantasia or the Nicholas Filbert books such as Serene. Only because A, they're expensive and you don't want to purchase something that's really expensive when you are just starting out and then find out that you really don't like coloring. This is literally from day one. This video is for those people that are wanting to color but don't know how to start or where to start. Another one that is a wonderful artist, and her books are both busy and not, is Clara Markova. Clara Markova is a fantastic artist as well. This is a very expensive book. I do not suggest it for a new colorist because of its expense and difficulty to attain. You cannot purchase this book on Amazon. You do have to go through different channels on Etsy to purchase these books, and they do cost you, and you do have to wait a long period of time for them. The paper in the books are quite nice. The artist is absolutely fantastic. The images are absolutely adorable, but I suggest this after you've gotten to a point where you're actually going to color in it. I bought my first one midway through my journey, and it took me almost 2 years after I bought my first one before I would color in it because I was terrified I was going to ruin the book. So, I don't suggest this book for somebody that is just starting out, or this artist, I should say, because she's got like 5 different books now. I don't suggest this artist for somebody that's just starting out because A, they're expensive, and B, you have a tendency to doubt your abilities as a beginner, and you're not going to want to color in it. Don't buy something that you don't want to color in because you're terrified of ruining the book. That's the lesson that I have learned. Don't buy something that you're afraid to color in because you think you might ruin the book. It's paper. You're not going to ruin the book. It's one page. If you don't do the way that you want it to on one page, it's fine. It's paper. Don't worry about it. But it is a little bit more intimidating when the book costs $100. Just saying. So, for the start of our journey together, we are going to start off with Matchstick Mouse because it's a very simple, adorable book that is fun to color. And that's the entire point of a coloring journey is to enjoy yourself, to relax and enjoy yourself. So that's what we're going to start off with. So that is how I choose a book. I choose a book on my skill level. When I first started out, I bought a lot of books that were well above my skill level that I couldn't color in for a very long time because I was too afraid of ruining the book. I have since learned it's paper. Um, if I don't know what I'm doing, if I don't feel confident in what I'm doing, buy something that's inexpensive, like $5 or $6, and practice. That is all. That's the entirety of coloring is just like any other art form is practice, practice, and more practice. All right, so this wonderful thing here is another one of those tools that I strongly suggest beginner colorists get. This is a color wheel. The color wheel I have here is called an Atomus, and it literally chooses the colors for you. So if you're working on, let's see, this page here, and you've done the leaves in green, and you don't know, you want a balance in color, and you don't know what color is going to balance with that. You can use this to balance that color. So the opposing color to green, the balancing color to green is red violet. The and that's a yellow green, which is what you would use for the leaves. If you want to go from the mouse and see what color you want to color the mouse, say you want to color the mouse a brown. Oh, well, that was almost disastrous. So say you want to color the mouse a brown. Let's see. Let's color the mouse light brown. So this one here. The opposing color would be in the blues. So you can do a blue violet. You can do the bluebells or the bells in a blue violet. So you can take a look on the color wheel, the different colors that are opposing to choose your colors. Now this is not law. Just want to say this. This is not law. You do not have to use these colors. You can use whatever color you want to. But if you want to know and you want that symmetry in your coloring, I strongly suggest utilizing your color wheel, which will help you. This one here does both the pastel colors as well as the base colors, and the dark goes from dark to light with adding different levels of gray, black, and that sort of thing. So I suggest getting one. It is not mandatory. It is not something you have to do. I found it a lot easier when I was coloring in the beginning because it gave me the ability to say, okay, I want this to be brown, these to be green. What's a good color that is going to go with all of that? Which would be either a violet or a blue violet, that sort of thing. I know that these are bluebells, so I'm going to color these blue. This is going to be green. What color should I do the mouse that would go with that, or the little worm, or things like that can be very confusing or very frustrating for somebody that is just starting out with a box of colored pencils. Those are the things I would suggest you start off with. So before you start coloring, the things that I would suggest you purchase are a set of pencils, preferably in the case. If you purchase a set of pencils in a tin or a box, you will have to purchase a case unless you don't mind the tin or box. Again, these are not have-tos. I prefer them in a case. They're easy to deal with. The second is swatching out your pencils. That will tell you what colors are in your set and what they're going to look like on paper. So that is the second suggestion, the second thing that I normally do. The third is buying your book. Buy something inexpensive that has the artistry that you enjoy. Do not buy something that you're not sure if you're going to be able to color or if you're going to want to color. Purchase something that you are going to enjoy and that you feel you're going to be able to color and relax with. For these tutorials, for this series of videos, for the next few months, we will be coloring in Matchstick Mouse. So if you want to color along, if you want to practice along with me, I would suggest getting the Matchstick Mouse, a floral coloring book by Morgan O'Brien. Another thing I suggest if you have problems choosing colors, and this is not just for somebody starting out, this is for somebody that has been coloring a while that may have issues choosing colors. I would suggest getting a color wheel that will help you, that has enough information on it. Like the Adamus has a lot of information on it. I suggest getting a color wheel that will give you the ability to choose your triads, choose your opposing color, that sort of thing. So that is my suggestions for starting out. Get yourself a wonderful book that you will enjoy. Get yourself a good set of pencils that fit your budget. Do not push yourself past your budget or your ability, where you feel your ability is. We will extend your ability, that's not a problem, but I can't extend your budget. So don't push yourself in an uncomfortable zone is basically what I'm saying. Coloring is supposed to be relaxing and enjoyable. It is not supposed to be frustrating, stressful, or a competition. So do not compare yourself and your ability with anybody else's. This is your journey. Where you start off with is up to you. If you find scribble therapy the best coloring that you want to do at that moment, then do a page of scribble therapy and we will cover that during the tutorials as well. Because I have done scribble therapy plenty of times. It's enjoyable, believe me. But yes, so those are the things I suggest you start off with. A good book, a good set of pencils. Swatch your pencils so you know what you're seeing, know what you have, so know what you're choosing from, and a color wheel. The erasers that I would suggest is the Prismacolor Scholar Triangle as well as a pencil eraser. This one here is the Nione. I also have the Faber-Castell. That is the starting, the basics of what you need to start coloring. And of course, the desire to color. All right, guys, with that, that is the conclusion of our first lesson in the beginning of our coloring journey. I will be putting out these videos once a week, um, going through individual lessons from start as we build our coloring experience. All right, guys, with that, always remember to relax, color, and stay safe. Until next time, bye bye for now.